What is happening, everybody? This is Jon Denton and welcome to the first proper episode of what we're going to be calling playBACK, the Q&A show on my channel. Now, a lot of weeks this show will just be me answering questions from YouTube comments, from Twitter and from email address, which I still haven't come up with, and I'll tell you why in a second. But many other weeks this show will feature guests, and I will let people in the community know who those guests are going to be, and we can have really good, interesting discussions. That's the point of this show. It's supposed to be about kicking off discussions. Awesome if you want to ask me normal questions, and I'll answer pretty much anything. But the idea is that it's going to be kicking off discussions in the comments, discussions everywhere, just stuff to think about, stuff for us all to think about. Some of this stuff might spin off into its own videos, who knows? I think it's a cool idea. I have ripped it off, Gary Vaynerchuk, 100%. Now quickly, before I start, the reason that I haven't got the email address sorted yet is because I was umming and ahhing whether to call the show playBACK, which is an excellent name, and thank you Paddy Stardust on Twitter for the name, because it ties into State of Play, the weekly show that I do. Or just call it Ask JD, my initials JD, Ask JD. It probably sounds a little bit better and people know what the show's going to be. I did hashtag Ask JD on Twitter to search for if anyone else is using it, and a seemingly quite famous adult actress is using it for her Twitter Q&As. And I didn't really want to be a part of that, and I think that she has a much bigger audience than I do. So playBACK it is. I'm just going to jump in here quickly. If you like the idea of a gaming channel that covers things from a kind of an industry point of view, from a critical point of view, from an analytical point of view, as well as talking about the beauty and art of video games, then please do think about subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. Okay, cheers.
Angry Kurt asks, who are your top 3 footballers and favourite football memory?
Top 3 football players of all time, Paul Scholes, Eric Cantona and Cristiano Ronaldo. Reasonably easy choices. There are others that are close, but they'd be the main 3. And greatest football memory is United winning that treble, winning that Champions League final in 1999. You couldn't ask for a more amazing, more dramatic moment as a football fan to watch like 2 goals in the 90 plus minutes go from losing the final to winning that historic treble. I was 17 when it happened. Couldn't have happened at a more perfect time, really. So yeah, easily my best football memory.
Nick O'Neill asks, Resi 7, chances it's a success?
So yeah, I mean, that's a great question. It really is. Will Resident Evil 7 be a success? I mean, I'm assuming we're talking about a commercial success. I think by the time that this video hits YouTube, the reviews will be out. So we'll see whether or not it's a critical success. I'm hearing on the grapevine that it's good, but we shall see. We shall see in that respect. And I'm planning on playing it this week and probably talking about it on the channel later this week. Will it be a critical success? It's such an interesting time. It's such an interesting time. I mean, you're talking about a legacy, massive IP. You're talking about a game that has always sold, pretty much in every single incarnation, every single spin-off. It's always done numbers. But we're also coming off the back of one of the most unpredictable Q4s in modern gaming history. I was going to say in gaming history, but certainly modern gaming history, where these games that people were expecting to sell just didn't. So will Resident Evil 7 be a success? So I think it will hit the top of the UK charts. There's nothing else competing with it. I think we're far enough removed from the sort of Christmas or winter holiday games of last year. Will it sell as much as a Resi 6? I don't reckon it's going to. I think it's probably too far removed in terms of gameplay style from some of the other Resident Evils. And while there has been a decent amount of buzz, I don't see that many people outside of gaming, outside of day-to-day gamers, day-to-day discussion gamers like we are, talking about it, and that's just from a small sample size. And I just don't think that games like that are going to be selling in the same way that they were, but it may just flip and do a Doom on me and do crazy numbers and do massively well. So it's really tough to say. My prediction, I'm going to put myself out there and say it's not going to do as well as Resident Evil 6, but it will still top the charts. I'm more than happy to be wrong on that one. I hope it's great. I hope it sells. I basically hope every game is great, and I hope every game sells. So I hope it's great. I hope it sells. I'm looking forward to playing it myself. Whether or not I'm going to do it in VR, I don't know. 2 reasons. It'll probably make me throw up, and I don't know if I've got the stuff. I just don't know if I can hack it. I don't know if I can hack that in VR.
Matt Barrington asks, hey JD, when you receive a press release for indie games, what are some big red flags?
Okay, so this is kind of a follow-up to the top 5 mistakes indie devs make when trying to get coverage of their game, or whatever I called it. I'm going to put a card up there or there. I can never remember which side. If you want to check that video out. The red flags that I see in press releases, to be honest, a boring subject line and a massive block of text. Unless you're announcing Halo 6, or not even that. unless you're announcing like The Last of Us 2 or something that people are really, really genuinely pumped for and weren't expecting, don't come with a boring subject line like press release, blah 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 blah, announced this date, and then a chunk of text. I think the days of doing that are over. I think that type of press release, like, who cares? I had a great press release come through from an indie PR. There's a little bit of story behind the game's creation in the subject line, which made me open it in the first place. Then there was a download link to the game, a trailer, and some backstory. But the trailer and the download link were prominent, and the subject line was interesting. But if we're talking 2005 style press releases in your email inbox, I mean, who's opening them? I could open my computer now. It's back there. Bang! I've got loads today. I've not opened any of them. Does that make me unprofessional? No, it just makes me realistic. Because I know what those games are going to be. I'm going to read about them on Twitter, like anybody else. I'm not covering them in the same... I mean, I don't know who those press releases are for anymore. They'll get some news stories, because people need to write news stories for their blogs that people aren't reading those news stories on. I mean, it's just a weird cycle. It's a really weird cycle. But they're my red flags.
Sean Bell asks, top 3 burgers, please.
Okay, quick answer here. I'm going to go number 1, the Roger Johnson / Roger Johnston, not sure, at Severnbone. There's one in Southampton and one in Bournemouth. That was number 2 until this weekend just passed, which would have been the Burger Brothers Benetton burger. That would have been number 1, but I had it this weekend, did it with a double patty, and in Brighton, they are not allowed by the council to serve burgers rare or medium rare. They have to be well done. Because I double pattied it, there was too much beef. There was just too much well done beef in there, and the bun's amazing, and all the cheese and the stuff and amazing. And definitely, if you're in Brighton, you have to go to Burger Brothers. Phenomenal restaurant. But just slip below, you can't go wrong with the Roger Johnson. It has this like garlic aioli and truffle oil and stuff, and it's like £7. It's not that expensive. An incredible burger. Number 3, in terms of a burger I can actually get, because I would say a couple of the ones I had in New York were phenomenal. In terms of a burger I can actually get, probably, just for the sake of the list, I'm going to go McDonald's double cheese. There are many, many better burgers and better tasting burgers than that. In terms of a burger, you can't really go wrong with the price. You know what you're going to get. So I'll use that as number 3. How about that?
STV asks, I was just wondering what you think of games journalists becoming increasingly close / friends with developers. It seems like this is becoming more common with easier links through social platforms, etc.
So this is a really, really good question, and I might actually spin this off into its own video at some point. And I've got a lot of thoughts on this, and it basically just comes down to trust. I've been in this industry for 11 years, plenty of relationships with people in the development and people in the sort of PR marketing sides of game publishers and stuff. Some people I would say I was very friendly with, some people it was more of just an acquaintance type thing. Some people I genuinely didn't like. But I know in my heart, when it came to it, like I had a great relationship with Rockstar for a number of years. If they released a game that was crap and I was still writing for the magazines, I would have said it was crap. It's as simple as that. You know, I have a good friendship with a guy called Andrew Smith who runs his own game studio, and you know, he would want me to do this. If his game came out and I was reviewing it and it was crap, I would tell people it was crap. He wouldn't want it any other way. I don't think many people would. I don't think anyone out there really wants a kind of corrupt or corruptible press, or they just don't. I mean, some people who are maybe lazy want that, and they want the easy wins. But I mean, those are so short term. They're so short term. So it just comes down to trust. Do you trust the people that are talking about games? And this goes beyond gaming, obviously. This goes into other forms of sort of entertainment writing or coverage, and it goes beyond that. It goes so far beyond that. I mean, it couldn't be more topical about like trusting journalists right now, could it? And it has been for years. But I mean, this is a game, so let's not get into any of that bollocks. But quite frankly, you just gotta pick and choose as a consumer, and pick the people for you. If you suspect there's something dodgy going on, if you think somebody's maybe giving favourable coverage to something because of their relationships, then I think it's up to you to kind of sniff that out. I think ultimately there's been dodgy stuff going on for years, since the 80s. I remember it in the 90s when I'd buy a games mag with a front game on the cover, 90% review, and you'd play that game and it was crap. I mean, there was no way. I remember a game called All Star Soccer. It was like a football game where the commentary was done by Alistair McGowan, who's an impressionist, and it was like a comedy football game. They got 90% on one magazine, so I bought it. And honestly, it was unplayable shit. It was proper shit, like a 12% game. And that was when I remember I was probably about 13 when I bought that magazine, and that's when I knew that this thing was corrupt. Like, that magazine was corrupt, it was done. So that stuff's easily sniffed out. Whether you see people giving slightly favourable coverage because of French, I mean, it's difficult to be It's difficult to exist completely in a vacuum, but at the same time, yeah, it just comes down to picking the people that you trust. Hopefully, people trust me to do the right thing and talk about the right things, and not play the short game I never have in my life. So I'm not planning on starting doing that anytime now. But yeah, I might spin this off into a video top 5 or something to make this a little bit deeper on my thoughts on it. But an awesome question. So yeah, that's been the first episode of playBACK. Next week should have a guest, so that'll be a really, really cool jumping off point for how that's going to work. Please do just leave any questions. It could be about anything. I really like the idea of questions that are sort of jumping off points for discussion, like the last one that we had. Please do just leave them in the comments here. Hit me up on Twitter at Jon Denton. You can hashtag it playBACK. You can hashtag it AskJD, or I'll just put out a tweet asking for questions, reply to that. Just hit me up, I'll find it. I'm just filling up a Google Doc with questions. And I will have an email for next week's show, I would have thought, so people can send me longer questions. But shows like this and State of Play, I'm looking at them as sort of long-term things. I'm not expecting like massive views unless one just catches out of nowhere until their names and the episode numbers are far more established. I'm just playing a longer game. I think there are ways that I could try and hack YouTube a little bit and do stuff that's a bit more SEO friendly. But I don't think long term that will really suit me. I'll run out of ideas. I'll get bored. I don't think these core people who are watching every episode of everything, thank you very much. I don't think that that's the kind of content you'd want from me. So yeah, just let me know. Like the dialogue open. Obviously, we're sort of cruising towards that 1,000 subscriber mark. So if you haven't hit the subscribe button yet and you are a fan of this channel, so if you are a fan of this channel or you're a fan of this video or you just like the idea, the concept of this channel, and remember, I am still massively learning as I go along, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't. This stuff behind me will get neater, the kit will get better, all that sort of stuff. So, if you like the idea of supporting a channel like this, I'm not asking for money, I'm not Patreoning any of that. Just a subscribe would be amazing if you haven't already. I've been Jon Denton. This has been the proper episode 1 of playBACK. Expect a guest next week. I will catch you on the next one. Peace!